Good afternoon, Local 100. Welcome to the Town Hall, Stronger Together Slate's Town Hall. My name is Evangeline Byers. I'm going to be representing our slate today to talk to you about my candidacy for president of TWU Local 100 and our agenda. This election is not about me, it is about us. I'm not running for president, we are running for president. This is our opportunity to take back our local. And today I'm going to present to you why I'm running, give you a little bit about who I am and my qualifications as a candidate. Give me 1 second, just making sure all of the audio and everything is working everywhere. Okay, I'll give you all some time to come in. If you can, please share out the video. Start the video to as many people as you possibly can so that they can view and be in on a discussion with us. Also, please, if you can, send your questions so that I can answer them if you have questions. Let me see. Okay, perfect. So again, I'm back. Just making sure that everything technically is working so that I don't get cut off or anything like that. Once again, my name is Evangeline Byers. I am your candidate for president of TWU Local 100. I am running under the Stronger Together slate. Now, in September, there was a call for the membership to get together, for all of us to get together and come out to a meeting where we would discuss the basis of unity, of how we will all come together. Many people were there on that day. I was in attendance, and we continued to meet going forward. On November 18th, we voted on the basis of our unity, dealing with the contracts around. We unified on the basis of no givebacks in our contract, that we would not do for one department and not do for another department. So we talked about all of these things. We voted to approve the basis of unity. I'm going to read to you our basis of unity because I think it's very important for you all to understand, how we've come together to unify. Give me 1 second. So our basis of unity and what we're unifying around. Now, one of the things, someone's saying they cannot hear me. Can you all hear me now? Please let me know if you can hear. Can you hear me now? Can you all hear me now? Please let me know if you can hear. Can you all hear me? I need somebody to let me know if you can hear me, because one person said that they can't. Okay, thank you. You can hear me. Perfect. So we came together and we all agreed that we would run together. And the basis of our unity was centered around our contracts. So I just want to read to you the basis of our unity. I'll send out an email. The initial platform was itemized democratically and voted on. It was adopted and approved as the all hands on deck state. I explained to you what happened with that. But on Saturday, November 18th, we agreed on our committed basis of unity going forward. We stand firmly against generational theft, bargaining, no more settling contracts on the backs of our new generation, and no more settling contracts on the backs of our retired generation. We reject concessionary bargaining, pickpocket negotiating, one title department gaining at the expense or detriment of another title or department. We have 80 plus titles and 7 divisions. The TA's goal is to set us against each other, and they have been successful thus far. Our goal is complete solidarity. There must be no division among us. We must be unified on these bases. We demand our choice in traditional and federal, and we demand our choice to traditional federal Medicare now. We stand against the TA's eroding of our personal time, employee availability schemes, eroding our rights to use our OTO. We will make retention a top priority, contract priority. The TA is both hemorrhaging skill titles and too few are applying. We must raise starting pay while reducing the 6-year wait period, also win significant longevity gains. Metro North MTA is now offering $5,000 sign-up incentives for new employees. We in New York City Transit MAPSTOA must wait 25 years just to get a $500 bonus. This is outrageous, and examining the demographics, it is frankly racist. All voting ratification in union elections to be done by online voting only. This ensures that the process of blocking members from participating in the election ends. This platform has been developed and we are adding to it as we go on, and we have added to it. Our committed basis of unity for waging an election campaign is to initiate an organization that develops collective decision-making and operates democratically by majority rule. That becomes the model for how we will reform the union internally. Change from its present secretive, board-off authoritarian decision-making to making it transparent decision-making. No more giving union release time to board members to buy executive board member votes. We are all being affected by that as I speak. We are an organization that meets regularly to learn about, establish respect and trust for each other and our various skills, and respect for the team, the decisions of the team. An organization that holds our team together, disciplined and accountable to our stated goals of transforming the way our union operates. Our organization that soberly examines and tackles tough questions on our past failures and how to learn from them. An organization that respects majority decisions, a team that shows respect for the body of its members, a team that carefully deliberates and debates and nominates by majority rule each candidate's position. A team that understands the slate politics is very different than individual politics. a team whose main goal is to form one cohesive, progressive slate to beat out the incumbents. Eventually, establish dues-paying members organization during our meetings to be established. Well, we've already taken care of that. To help avoid the last-minute stacking of one meeting to manipulate favorable votes, each dues-paying member that is a part of the Stronger Together coalition has to attend at least 2 or 3 meetings of this coalition to become a voting member. Voting, rotating the chair to prepare for our election of future VPs, chairs, and other part segments of our organization. So I just read to you the basis of our organization, of why and how we decided to come together and what we agreed upon. In January, I was elected by this coalition to become the next president of TWU Local 100. This election is not about me, but it's about the issues, our issues, what is affecting us as a membership. There's a lot of things that are happening right now and that we have all been experiencing. I can read off the litany of things that are going wrong, but I want us to focus in on what it is that we're going to do to move this union forward. It is very important that we understand where we are right now at this critical time in our union. All of us who are here, especially those of us who are tier 6, have now been impacted and are being impacted by decisions that was made by the Samuelson, Yatano, and Davis administration. Let me be very clear. I served on the executive board for a term, and then I decided to run for president. But what made me decide to step up and run was from experiencing firsthand the mismanagement of the union's resources, the lack of preparedness for executive board meetings, a contract, when it's time for contract negotiations and ratification, the way how poorly it was handled, the fact that we did not receive a copy of the contract to vote on. This has been an ongoing practice within this administration, and it has currently happened this past contract negotiation cycle. Now, what are the issues, you may say? Right now, what we're dealing with is service over safety. Service over safety. That has become the prevailing theme of this administration. To make sure that buses move, trains move, all at the expense of the safety, the health and safety, and the well-being of our members. We have seen assaults increase under these administrations. We have seen our members, the increase in injuries on duty continue to go up, assaults continue to go up. And the only way that this is going to be reversed is if there is a new regime that comes in that is committed to making sure that we are all taken care of. This past week, the Department of Labor visited Coney Island Train Yard. We have been working to put together a top-tier safety team to deal with all of the safety issues that are plaguing our system. During this visit by the Department of Labor, they had already reached out to transit dealing with smoke conditions. The basis of the complaint was that they had not still to date, there had been no report given to us in regards to what happened to Garrett Goebel when he passed away on his train due to a fire. The Department of Labor inspector said to us during that meeting with members in the room that the reason why Mr. Goebel's death occurred was because of the fact that he was trying to put out a fire. That was the information that was given to the Department of Labor. We all refuted it. We told him that that was a lie, that did not occur, that was not what happened, and that he was not trying to put out a fire, but that he had died from smoke inhalation. And the reason why he was on the tracks was because he was trying to save his life. While we were talking about what was going on, we had been requesting for some time now that we be given masks, 5-minute air masks that would be outfitted in our train caps, that if there was a fire, you would be able to put it on you would have 5 minutes of air so that you can put it on and leave. The Department of Labor took the report that we initially filed and did not come with the report that we put in. Instead, they wanted to talk to us about the mask that we have now and act like they did not know what was going on. So we have escalated the safety issues regarding fire safety and how the MTA is handling it. And the fact that there has been no report given as we have continued to request. They said they didn't have a report to turn over to us, but they were requested again from the TA and to see if they would get it. That's one part of the issue. The next is the ongoing assaults that are happening on the job. There is nothing being done to combat assaults. There's nothing being done to challenge the elected officials or the NYPD or our mayor to ensure that we're safe. There is nothing being done by our administration. We constantly are, when assaults are happening to our members, what is happening now is that management is no longer taking assaults, right? They're telling people who are assaulted, especially if you're spit upon, and this is where we're seeing the problem. When someone is spit upon, they're saying now that you can go out on disability, for 6 months and come back. They're not even documenting the reports. We reached out to the VP of MAPSTOA because the complaints largely were coming from their department. We've heard about this in RTO and bus and TA Surface and the other divisions of the union, of the MTA, of our membership, that this has been an ongoing problem. However, our union has failed to address it. What they have done is begin to privatize sections of our contract, right? On segments of our membership. What they're doing by privatizing Corvell, which is workers' compensation, and saying that it's the law, we have the right to do it. It was supposed to be implemented in a timely manner or not implemented at all. The people who the union fired because of their support of the membership when it came to dealing with workers' compensation, we are all working together to make sure that this comp situation is resolved. Now, why would transit and the union conspire to privatize FMLA, which they've already done, and now workers' compensation? Because of gain sharing, profit. The union and management benefit every time you show up from work. So when you go out and you're injured on duty, they are all profiting when you come back to work because you didn't get paid out your comp on time, or your case is controverted, although you're still injured or you're having mental issues from post-traumatic stress, they still profit when you return. So that is the basis and the reason, because the union and management are profiting together. What we're going to do when we come into office is deal with the issue of Tier 6. Now, our union over time has consistently said that they're fighting Tier 6. We've seen them do little things here and there, but nothing consistent has been done to fix the issue regarding Tier 6. Now, what we have to do to fix Tier 6 is not go down to Lobby Day. Lobby Day has consistently been an epic fail because our union does not prepare for Lobby Day. Since I've been talking about this, there was an announcement made on the executive board that this time around, they're going to do something about Tier 6. However, they are not. The only way to fix Tier 6, there would have to be a statewide movement to rally all the city and state agencies to understand how this is problematic. Because as people who are a part of Tier 6, we are going to be the first tier to retire in poverty. I'm going to say that again. We're going to be the first tier to retire in poverty, and we will not be able to retire and live in New York City on half of our income. We no longer are retiring on dollars earned as our Tier 4 brothers and sisters are. We will be retiring on our salaries, and that is a huge problem. So even though we have 25, 55 in our contract, many of us will wind up retiring after 30 years, 32 years, right? 32, 62 rather than 25, 55, because the math, the numbers, it just does not work for us. It is the Samuelson and Yatano administration that got us there. And it's going to take Tier 6, the Samuelson, Yatano, and Davis administration. It has been their administrations that got us here. It was the Samuelson, Yatano, and Davis administration that put out to the membership to approve Tier 6. They called it gold. We achieved 25, 55, and this is gold. And it's not going to affect the people that are here. We will release these documents to you so that you can look over and see what they have done over time. It is very important that we understand where we are as a membership and what we're going to do to move forward. Under my administration, we will prioritize shop stewards. Every member of the union will be able to take shop steward training, even if they do not want to be a shop steward. Shop stewards are the first line of defense in any union. So to stop the shop steward training and change it to something else simply weakens our membership and our protection against management. All members will know the rules of safety and what governs them, how to properly ask for and request a safety dispute resolution form. We will balance out the pay system of the fact that now our pay tiers are off because just for an example, in stations department, they gave the station agents a raise and forgot to negotiate anything on the behalf of the conductors, when the station agent title is a promotion-based title. However, because we have a union that does not respect its membership at large, that doesn't believe that an injury to one is an injury to all, and doesn't do things that's in the best interest of all our members, this is what we see happening at this moment. We have to all pull together. We have to work together to take back our union. Now, many question my experience. Let me just give you a little background about who I am and how I got to be a union activist. While I was in college, I was tapped by one of my professors that there was an issue going on with our college receiving its proper funding from the City University of New York. I was a student of Medgar Evers College, and my professor kept asking us, somebody needs to do something. And I said, well, what is it that you need us to do? What is it? And she met with me after class, and we sat down and started going over the history of Medgar Evers College, monies that were due us, and there was nothing provided to us, and how the monies were not being provided to us, and that it had put our college in a peculiar situation. And not only that they had taken our science building that was built for us and given it to Brooklyn College, and they had fired our professors. So myself, along with another student, we sat down and put our heads together, and we launched the Medgar Evers College Student Movement. We attended caucus weekend, where we gave every elected official all of the information regarding what was going on and what needed to be done. After we did this, we began to fight for the the monies due to the college and all of the other issues that surrounded the college. This was about a 3 year, a 3 to 4 year campaign, and we won. After that time, I was tapped by the Obama administration to come in and organize around the Higher Ed Not Debt campaign, which led to income-based loan repayment. And this was done because of my victories that I had been accomplishing at Medgar Evers College, and I had been put on their radar as someone who had the ability to organize and to accomplish things. I was then, after I graduated from Medgar Evers College, I was brought back in the role of a consultant to run the student activities for commencement and to write the retention plan for the college that led to our accreditation, to the college being reaccredited. I had been fighting on the front line of many battles. During Black Lives Matter, I participated in Black Lives Matter. But how I became active at TWU and at the MTA was while a student in school car. My school car instructor, his name is Welshell. He is known throughout the system as an instructor, a supervisor in school car who is heavy-handed towards new employees. He's the person that takes new employees out of service and hands them over to management. Well, he tried to do that to me while we were in school car. He was under investigation, and he decided that he was going to use me as the person to get himself out of trouble because he was currently under investigation for EBVs, resetting EBVs on students who had tests and other transgressions that he was being investigated for. He had my whole entire class who stayed for training, for tutoring. He had everybody to write a statement and told them they had to write this statement and say that I had damaged the train, that I had a collision on the train, in the train yard, and that I had did these things, and that they did not listen to what he said and write what he said, that they would be fired for falsifying the document because everybody had to say the same thing. Well, I took on Welshell, and then an investigation ensued. And after they read my G2, which detailed from the time he started to concoct this story and come up with this to sort of try to save himself because he was supposed to be at 2 Broadway that day for his own transgressions. After they went in and started to investigate, one of my classmates decided to step up and tell the truth. And that led to Mr. Welshell being removed from school car, banned permanently. He cannot go back ever to be in school car, which he should have been terminated for what he did, but they kept him. And after that, I began to organize my class. We got new instructors, and everybody wound up moving on and advancing to become train operators. This is very important because this was my first insight as a new employee into how the MTA views us and how they treat us. Consistently throughout my time in training, I was constantly being told that to be careful, they're watching me, because of my organizing of my class and getting us new instructors and what happened to Welshell. It's good that sometimes you have good supervisors, because some of the supervisors that was there protected me and made sure that I was not terminated and that I made it through. Moving ahead, I was then tapped by a train operator who asked me when they were having when Tramell Thompson was running for president, if I would assist their campaign. And Mr. Lee Ireland asked me to run for executive board. I ran for executive board, and that began my tenure of service as an executive board member and beyond. I say this to tell you that also, while at my tools, I have filed a grievance that has now led to women having 12 weeks maternity leave and men having 4 weeks maternity leave. However, it's a bittersweet victory, and this is why. That victory comes on the heels of our union gutting the New York State Paid Family Leave law, which entitles 12 weeks to bond with your child for the birth of your child. or no, I mean to bond with a child, not the birth of your child, but to bond with a child. And that if you adopt a child or whatever, however the child comes into your care, you have 1 year to bond with this child. Our union has gutted that law, and in lieu of implementing New York State paid family leave, they have now implemented MAPA leave, 12 weeks for women and 4 weeks for men. However, that is discrimination. The law states that men and women are both entitled to 12 weeks. So now we have a precedent set with the agreement of our union to discriminate against men and not give them equal time off as women to bond with their child for the birth of their child. We have to make sure that we begin to reverse these things and that we begin to change the paradigm of what's going on within our union of constantly giving everything to management. Giving everything to management. If we're not careful and if we don't continue to fight and stay vigilant, they will give everything away. Now we are currently embroiled in a battle to save Medicare. Our union lied again during contract negotiations and stated that New York State paid family leave, that Medicare, that they were giving, that the retiree medical was being enhanced. And in fact, the retiree medical was being given away, and all of our retirees who are Medicare eligible have now been forced into privatized Medicare Advantage, which has now led to many of our members being denied chemo treatment, care for chemo treatment, and other treatments being denied or delayed due to having to wait for pre-authorizations. This is a diminished benefit. I can go on and on about the things that we're doing right now to fight for our union as a collective group. In the days to come, you will meet the men and women who have joined the all hands on deck slate to fix our union. This is not about an individual, or it's not even about the people who are running. This is about all of us. This is about all of us, and it's going to take all of us to fix everything that's happening within our union. It is imperative that we all pitch in any way that you can. On February 24th at 1 p.m., we will be meeting at Sugar Hill to further organize and discuss what is going on with our union and how to move us forward and to prepare for the upcoming elections. We are united around the issues. We have put all of our differences aside and have committed ourselves to working towards fixing the issues of this union. It is the experience of those who are in office, because they'll tell you, what you will hear is that, oh, she hasn't been here long enough, she doesn't have the experience. But it is the experience of the Samuelson, Yatano, and Davis administration that has us in the conditions that we are in. Everybody knows what we're dealing with. Now it's time for us to fix it. The only way for us to fix it is for us to all work together. It's going to take member education, agitation, and organization in order to fix this union. It is not going to happen just because, I become president of the union. It's going to happen when we all get active and do what we have to do to fix the union. It is very, very important that we stay together, that we work together, that we rely on each other and help one another. Do not listen to people tell you, don't listen to the crew room lawyers, they're going to get you in trouble. Make sure that you're telling someone. The majority of people who come to me for help is because someone said, call her. She can help you with grievance and discipline. Grievance and discipline is a very serious issue within our union. We will be hiring a top-tier legal firm to come in, top-tier attorneys to come in and deal with grievance and discipline. No longer will we just have labor lawyers at 2 Broadway. We will hire defense attorneys, pair them up with legal attorneys to begin to deal with the process of grievance and discipline, because that is the area where we're losing. This process of our union reps handing you over to management will end. The rules that govern how a union rep is supposed to operate will be fully implemented. Your union rep is never supposed to meet with management without you present. Your union rep is not supposed to make side deals with management. Your union rep is not supposed to sign off on stipulations on anything without your consent. Whenever you're brought up on disciplinary charges, your whole the charges that were all of the charges that were brought against you, the evidence is supposed to be submitted at step one. That does not happen in our union. We have to ensure that all of these things happen, and it can be done. Because guess what? There are many members who, after they learn how to defend themselves and how this process works, they go to 2 Broadway and they have success. So it's very important that you begin to understand what's going on. Understand that a lot of our union reps are handing our members over to management for different reasons. I've been attending the departmental meetings. And in many of the departmental meetings, it is disgusting. Some of the union reps, these are not elected officers, the people who are released, are complaining that there's nothing that they can do. There's nothing that they can do. They take the information, but it can't go anywhere. Why? Because they do not have the backing and support of the president and the current administration. There's not enough rest reliefs. There's no shop stewards in the field. They are dismantling us to stay in power. So how do we combat that? We all have to pull in and work together. We all have to make up in our minds that we're going to participate in this upcoming election, that there's nothing going to stop us from getting a ballot and voting. I will see you all in the field to talk to you and answer all of your questions. And today, I'm going to take questions from you. So if you have any questions, you can post them online. I'll read what it is that you have to say, and then I'll answer the questions. Let me see. Do you have any questions? We're in poverty now. It's very important that you all ask me questions because I need to answer you. It's a town hall. Are there qualified staff with the slate to help MTA bus? Yes, there are qualified staff. So this is, are there qualified staff within your slate to help MTA bus? Yes, there are qualified staff within our slate to help MTA bus. What is it? Can you please let me know some of the issues that are happening in MTA bus that you would like us to address? If you can put that in the chat, and then, I can go over it. Okay, I see it. MTA bus, college, yes, we have all of these depots covered. We have all these depots covered. We've already started putting together a coalition. If you come out to our meeting on February 24th, you can meet some of the representatives on that day. Everybody's not available because everybody's not off on the weekend, but a lot of the representation for your depot will be present. So I have a question from Celso Garcia. He says, what makes this administration so bad and how will you be better? What makes this administration so bad is that they have been committed to not educating the membership and helping them to understand how to protect themselves while in the performance of their job duties. This administration has used union reps and have weaponized union reps against members to stay in control, for power and control. Also, this administration our has privatized workers' compensation and FMLA, and these are all issues that are very important to our membership because we have to care for our families, ourselves, and also when you're out on comp, you need your benefits to start immediately. And what we are experiencing is that that is not occurring, right? So when you go out on comp, your case is controverted. A lot of times you never get to know who your caseworker is. They don't let you know what's going on. This administration also forces you into bad standing by not giving you exonerations or letting you fill out an exoneration form before you go out, knowing that most likely you're going to have a lapse in dues. And if you don't have any money, you have a financial hardship, you're supposed to be given an option of an exoneration. That's some of the ways that this administration is poor. Also, its treatment of women, right? Women are poorly treated under this administration. Right now, we see what's happening with the president and the charges that he's been brought up on. He's also been found to have said the things about the young woman that were alleged against him, right? Not only that, he was the biggest block to the implementation of New York State paid family leave. He said that it would never happen. In his department, they would not even submit the grievance. One of the members submitted it, and we let her come on. We invited her in to represent MAPSTOA operators, the female operators, during the grievance hearing to assure that we got the 12 weeks maternity leave, which forced them to have to deal with this in contract negotiations and implement it. Understand that this is a law that they've been blocking. Now, we're going to have to fix that, right? We're going to have to go in and fix that and make sure that the full law is implemented and that the agreement between management and the union is overturned and that the discrimination against men stops. Can we put pressure on the powers that be? Can we put pressure on the powers that be for the transit police force to be reinstated? Yes, we can. We can put pressure on the powers that be to reinstate the transit police, right? A lot of what is happening and the reason why these things are happening is because there's been no demand from our union. These things have not been demanded. It has to be. There should be a reinstatement of transit police force to be reinstated. Another issue that is before us is in MOW, but throughout the system, but I'm going to talk about MOW for a second. In MOW, they have farmed out basically all of their work, right? Everything is in the hands of contractors. There's very little work available for our members. If you go into the structure department and the different department, people are just sitting around. They're complaining about the fact that their work has been farmed out and concerned about what is going to happen to them and their jobs going forward. So farming out of jobs throughout the agency, throughout the MTA is also a problem. Well, someone is addressing how in TA surface things are done one way, and MTA bus things are done one way, and in MAPSTOA things are done one way. The simple answer to this is that it was done by design. MAPSTOA has full control of their division, not to the benefit of the membership or the workers, but it's to their membership. If you look on when we start to run, when elections come up, MAPSTOA has the most union reps. They create fake positions and tell people that they're positions in the union that are not even covered under our bylaws and constitution, but they do whatever they want in MAPSTOA, right? And they have been doing whatever they want in MAPSTOA. And if you go and you talk to any MAPSTOA bus operator, and they are extremely dissatisfied with their representation, right? However, it's very hard to organize in that department because of the fact that they're so heavy-handed towards them over there. Wilfredo, what are you saying? You said there are more people than buses, which are you saying are having safety issues? What will you do? The whole system is unsafe. We were just discussing the issues of assaults and how to deal with the increase in assaults and crime that is happening throughout our system, right? The issue is that we have to hold our elected officials to task, and we have to make sure our members are first. We can't continue to move trains, buses, stations. And listen, it's not only train operators and bus operators that get assaulted. Station agents get assaulted too. Cleaners get assaulted too. You know, track workers get assaulted. Everybody who is in the system at some point in time will experience an assault in the performance of their job duties if they have an exposure to the public. And the only way for us to combat this is that this has to become a priority. We cannot continue to move buses and trains when we know our membership is in harm's way. We saw this when on the N train, when it was the shooting on the N train. The trains kept moving, nothing stopped. Business went on as normal, as if nothing was happening. So much so, the shooter was able to leave because there was trains still moving. Nothing stopped. Those who were a part of it were honored by the mayor. However, their workers' compensation wasn't approved on time. They had all type of issues. So in dealing with this, it all comes down to what we prioritize. And what we prioritize is safety over service. We do not prioritize service over safety. Real stand downs. We have deaths happening of our employees. Under the Samuelson and Yatano administration, the death of our employees are at a rate that is too high. In CED, people are losing limbs. In signals, someone lost their limb. We just had a track worker who was killed in the performance of his job duty. The investigations are cover up, everything is swept under, and business goes on as usual. No regard for our lives, our health and safety. We saw this during the pandemic. We have a lot of recourse. We just don't use what we have. And safety is before service. The NTSB even highlighted that the blaming of our members for incidents that are occurring is a problem. It is a management issue. It is the fact that the MTA does not prioritize our lives and safety. Under my administration, our lives and safety will be prioritized, right? Throughout the system, there's not enough, we don't have enough union reps. That's another thing that we're gonna have to negotiate and demand, that we have more release spots so that we can take care of our membership. And I'm not looking to release people because I'm trying to build an army to stay elected. My work, the work that I do and what I accomplish for you, that is what determines whether or not I remain your president. Not trying to build people and pit them against the membership. Under my administration, we will prioritize safety over service. Could you briefly discuss about the sections that will be affected by AI in the next 3 to 5 years? The stations department will be heavily impacted by AI in the next 3 to 5 years. However, our commitment is to our collective bargaining agreement and our membership. AI is the way the world is going. However, we can train our membership, we can put money and funds into the training and upgrading fund and make sure that we're training our members that if segments uh, of our workforce, if things begin to change, that our membership, that their jobs are protected, that they're not losing their jobs because of technology, but that we're growing with technology. But the stations department is going to be heavily impacted by technology. All over the system, RTO is being impacted by technology right now. All departments are going to, in some way, shape, or form, are going to have to deal with technology. Now, just to let you know, if there are any plans, which I don't know right now because I'm not in office, I don't have any of the reports of what it is that transit is planning or have agreed to or have submitted to the union. But once we get that information, we can begin to look at it and see what it is and to prepare our workforce for what's ahead and what's to come. A question that I'm receiving: if you win, will you be willing to work with Stand United? Will you reach across the aisles? Absolutely. Absolutely. My belief behind what I see happening and what I saw while I was in office is that the union reps have been conditioned to a culture of corruption and not doing what they're supposed to do, right? Of not educating, not representing the membership, selling out to management. It's just been the culture of the way it's been there. It's the way they operate. I believe that we all can work together. There's a place for all of us in our union. And understand that Stand United and Stronger Together and anybody else that wants to say whatever they want to call themselves, right? Those are just titles to win an election or to run, to differentiate our position from one another. However, we still are all members of the same union, right? And I believe that when we come together, once I win, we can all work together. There's no problem with me. There's nothing that is happening so bad that we cannot sit down, go over, some of the issues or the things that got us to where we are and begin to fix it and move ahead. So yes, there's room for everybody in our union. There will be no retaliating against people because they did not support my run for presidency, right? Everybody has the right to do what it is that they want to do. However, we know that it's in the best interest of our union that we all come together under a tier 6 lead ticket to take this union into the future, to move us forward. A question that I have, big question: what do you think would be the outcome if members were to report to work but not go out for service? Could there be repercussions? I think your question is centered around a job action. Yes, there can be repercussions for job actions. We can't really discuss uh, strike tactics and things like that on a video like this. This is something that we would have to discuss in person on how we deal with management as far as job action, striking, our right to strike, and things of that nature. Definitely, when I become president, we will definitely implement uh, electronic voting. That was the basis of our unity. To implement uh, is one of the grounds for our unity was that we would do away with balloting and that we would now, usher in electronic voting so that all our members have an opportunity to cast their vote in elections. The buses are always full, and the MTA wouldn't put out more runs to cover the amount of people they cut service. Listen, the things that are happening with service cuts, work programs, all of these things are still contractual agreements, right? Our union just goes along with whatever management is doing, right? We see it in my division in RTO of them messing with the work program. Right now in MOW, the car inspectors are having, the track inspectors are having issues with their pick. There's a whole lot going on when it comes to jobs and what they're doing. They're making agreements and changing titles and doing all kind of things in our union. The only way to combat all of this, right? Again, we just have to be committed to coming in and taking over and fixing what needs to be fixed. Well, under the Samuelson and Yatano and Davis administration, we have seen that we are not making wages, we're not getting raises in step with that of the MTA, the Long Island Railroad and Metro North. I will be seeking pay parity for our workers in step with the Long Island Railroad and Metro North. We have to examine all of the positions and get everybody up to par and being paid what they should be making paid for their wages, and also to live in the city. We don't have cost of living adjustments. So all of these things that you're asking, these are all things that we have to sit down and go over and begin. Well, we're starting to work on these. Well, let me just be clear, because I don't want you to think that I'm just waiting to win. And when we get in, then we're going to start working on these things. We've already started working on these things. We're already starting to work through the areas in our union that need correction and need to be fixed, right? And so this pay issue is a very serious issue, and we have to deal with it. It has to be dealt with. So Tamika Finney says we need more jobs and restricted jobs for pregnant women. So as you know, again, when I was in office on the executive board, one of our members lost their baby in a train yard due to not being given a reasonable accommodation, which led to the death of her unborn child. This led to us having a protest down at the union hall and demanding to meet with the president of the MTA, Sarah Feinberg. I believe because Sarah Feinberg was in that seat was the reason why we got the progress that we got. When we went in to meet with Sarah Feinberg, we requested the meeting was supposed to be for all women of the MTA, for every woman in the MTA, in all departments. However, President Yatano fought and said I could only represent RTO. However, when I went into the meeting, I made it very clear to Sarah Feinberg that President Sarah Feinberg that I was not there on behalf of just RTO, although I had prepared what we were going to ask as far as accommodations for the women in RTO that would ensure that no woman would lose their baby in the performance of their job duty. The recommendation to Sarah Feinberg was the dedicated announcer positions. There were 140 positions available under the dedicated announcer position, and that all pregnant women should get those accommodations. It was agreed upon in that meeting that that's what we would go through. We went over the flyers, the forms, we talked about everything. And President Tony Yatano went behind our back, signed a stipulation that said that the women agreed to only 4 light duty positions, as far as 4 dedicated announcer positions, when we did not agree to that. The agreement was that all of the positions would be made available. During that time, there were people who resigned from working in the Office of Reasonable Accommodation because they did not want the stain of the death of the baby that happened in the train yard and what was going on in reasonable accommodation. To date, you still can walk through the system and there are no signs up that tell you what to do as a pregnant woman. There's no emails plastered all over the place letting you know if you're pregnant, this is what you do. So it's a hit or miss at where you'll see them. So under my administration, yes, women's issues, there will be a greater commitment to women's issues. Women are on this job and they have to be treated fairly. And when a woman is pregnant, she should not be climbing up on a train in a train yard. We've had women that have fell off the train and given birth to children who have had birth defects as a result of it, who did not know that when they fell off the train and they were taken to the hospital, that was an injury on duty, right? They just went out and didn't come back. We hear the stories all the time of what have happened to our women on this job. There's cleaners who have had miscarriages, right? Come to work, you know, tell their supervisor that they're pregnant. The supervisor tell them they still have to pull the garbage. They still have to, no accommodations. Just to let everyone know, all women to know this. When you are pregnant, when you ask for an accommodation, it has to be given to you at the point of ask. If they do not give you the accommodation, you have to file a Division of Human Rights claim. We do not use EEO first, and here is why. When you use EEO, it goes through transit. And what transit does, they work for transit. And what they do, they're down at 130. What they do is they block it. It doesn't move anywhere, or they bring back a decision against you. But when the Division of Human Rights gets involved, they notify all the other agencies that they are doing an investigation into whatever it is that you're dealing with, whether it's retaliation, reasonable accommodation issues, whatever it is, they're going to investigate, bring back a decision that is sent to all city agencies. Let me tell you how powerful it is. There was a young woman who had filed the Division of Human Rights claim, but she had went through EEO first, and we talked about it, and she wound up going through the Division of Human Rights. While the TA sent back a decision against her, the EEO sent a decision against her, but right at the same time, the Division of Human Rights informed them that they were about to render their decision. The EEO reversed their decision. They said disregard that email, and that they were waiting for the decision from the Division of Human Rights, who brought back a decision in the favor of our member, right? So that's why we choose to go with the Division of Human Rights. It's a better state agency, and I just want all women to know that you have a right to a reasonable accommodation at the point of ask, and you are supposed to be accommodated, right? So yes, there will be a greater commitment to dealing with restricted duty positions on the job. Yes, there should be a process for the removal of a president and any union officer. Right now, the process that we have is very complicated, right? It's not a straightforward thing. So the bylaws that govern TWU Local 100, yes, that needs to be updated. Very aggressive towards management. Again, I told you that my commitment to Broadway is that we will be reaching out to defense lawyers to come in and work along with labor lawyers to understand defense, right? And how to argue cases and to deal with evidence and everything else, because these are all of the areas where we get jammed up, right? Our union reps do not know what to do. A lot of them have not been trained. And as a result, we continue to get jammed up and our disciplinary records destroyed because of that. So it is one of my top priorities is going to be dealing with discipline and dealing with management in that way. Exactly. So somebody put in the comments, strategic aggression it has to be strategic aggression, because you just can't be overly aggressive. So no, I'm not going to be overly aggressive and crazy with it, but I'm definitely going to make sure that you all know that my commitment is to the membership. So Mr. Odom asked, will you strengthen FMLA or bring it back to where we can take care of our families? So listen, there is a law called New York State Paid Family Leaves. New York State Paid Family Leaves. It's been in existence since 2016. And our union just has failed to implement New York State Paid Family Leave. It is insurance that covers you in the event that your loved ones become ill, your mother, father, children, or siblings, right? It gives you 12 weeks of protected paid time off. And what it does is it assures that you do not have to use your sick time, AVAs, or OTO in order to take care of your family. This is a state law. This is a federal law, rather. This is a federal law. New York State Paid Family Leave. And our union has not implemented it. So, yes, you will not have to worry about being able to take time off to care for your loved ones under my administration. I will fully implement New York State Paid Family Leave. It also covers military service people who may be deployed, right? If you're deployed to have to go overseas or wherever to fight in war, that someone can use New York State Paid Family Leave to take the necessary time off to help the child or your family transition in the event that the parent or guardian has to leave. So yes, we will definitely do that. One of the things that was the reason why I filed the New York State Paid Family Leave grievance was because my father was ill and I needed to care for him and I had to keep taking off. And so I grieved New York State Paid Family Leave for that section. And then the other women came on and men and grieved the maternity section so that it would be fully implemented. To date, we still have people who are dealing with, someone put online not too long ago, he wonders if his father would still be alive had he had been able to go away and care for his father and his loved one. But you know why he was not able to go and care for his father? Because our union refused to enforce New York State Paid Family Leave and that the full extent of the law be implemented. That was another give back during this current contract. Well, the culture that has been, and I saw this last election too. So the question is, how will you bring all the departments together? Because in the end, we are all one union, but we have infighting between departments. That has been set up by design. Again, dealing with this situation in the Department of Buses, the heavy-handed nature towards the bus operators and the maintainers and all of the people who work in those departments, right? The way to fix that and combat it is we have to work towards fixing all of the issues that divide in those departments. There's no reason why TA Surface, MAPSTOA, and MTA Bus are not just one cohesive unit. And I'm not going to not to leave out private lines, right? Private operations dealing with school bus operators and the private lines that's in Westchester County, right? They were not even given the $4,000 bonus like everyone else, right? They just did not negotiate anything with them in private lines to make sure. So everyone needs to be treated fairly, and all of that is just bringing us together, right? Bringing us together and not based off of who did you support in the election, right? Once the election is over, it's over. We're all union brothers and sisters. An injury to one is an injury to all. If a bus operator is injured, and if you notice, I show up to all events, right? If a bus operator is injured and there's a protest, I'm there. If it's MOW, wherever it is, CED, if something is happening in any department, I'm going to go because it affects all of us. Just because I'm a train operator doesn't mean what's happening in car equipment doesn't affect me, or what happens in stations does not affect me. I try my best to lend my platform, my voice to help and assist all of us. And this is about all of us. This is not a union is one big family, right? The only time you have to use heavy-handed tactics is when you're not about the business of what you're supposed to be about. That's when you see an oppressive nature. I have no problem being asked questions or challenged in any way because you have the right to challenge. You have the right to have a voice. My father raised me from a little girl and always made me hold my shoulders back and speak up and assert myself, right? And so he always told me, you have a right to speak. And he would show me positive images of women to help me to understand that as a woman, I had a place in this world and to speak up. That's why I'm big on you finding your voice, knowing that you matter and you have the right to speak. There's no reason to fear. Once you have the education, right, and you understand how to properly implement your job, your contract, things that deal with grievance and discipline, then you know how to protect yourself on your job. And if you may not be that strong, but we're going to make sure we have shop stewards and people who, there's a lot of people who love this stuff, right? There's people who love doing grievances and hearings. Those people need to be empowered to come and help, right? If we have people who are good with G2s and understand how to write G2s properly, we need to make sure that those people are there to assist our union brothers and sisters. But yes, under my administration, you will definitely see a more family-oriented and centered union. Also, we will bring back the $2,000 child care fund. Under this administration, they have butchered the child care fund. So there's a lot of areas that is just right now, this election period and us getting in is about the restoration of a lot of things that are already in our contract. The making sure that we we better equip our leaders, the people who are in charge of those departments and directors, that they be trained to properly execute their office over what it is that they're in charge of. The issue is not that we don't have it. It's just being poorly managed. It's poor governance. I won't be able to be there on Tuesday, Jose, but I have someone from our team that will be there at College Point. I won't be able to be there because that's my tour. I don't get off work until 11 a.m. I get off work at 11 a.m. every day. So I won't be there for the town hall with President Davey. Um, but I'm definitely going to make sure that I have a representative to speak on our behalf at that town hall. Yes, it says, will your administration reinstitute consolidation within the transit authority due to the 2005 contract? I'm not going to say yes to that because I need to look at it. I need to look at it more. But I'm sure that it's something that can be done. I just need to better understand it. Once I better understand it, I can answer you better. I'll get back to you with an answer with that. Paycheck every week. Actually, somebody actually sent this to me. I didn't look into it yet, Todd. So someone is asking paycheck every week. Can we fight to change that? We actually gave that back, right? Because we used to get paid weekly. We get paid bi-weekly now. But I definitely can look into that to see if we can go back to weekly. All things are possible when you have good leadership and when you have a leadership that is centered around the members. So I'm definitely open to working on all of these issues. How will you bring the wider community? How will you bring? Are you asking me about like when you say the wider community, are you talking about the people who ride the subway? Just clarify what you're asking me when you say the wider community. Are you talking about our families? What are you talking about? Are you talking about social justice issue? because under my administration, there will be a greater commitment to social justice issues. Unions have always been at the forefront of the social justice movement. And right now, we are absent. We are absent. We are grossly and silent when it comes to social justice issues. When you say, someone says, we understand that you will have to revamp and redesign many things when you get in office. What can we do as members to ensure that a minimum 51% of these malicious acts will be reversed? What do you mean? That's not clear. If you can just restate what it is that you're asking. Oh. Someone asked, how will I get in front of the voting issue so that we won't get robbed of an election? It all comes down to just getting out there and convincing the voters, which are the membership, to participate and letting them know what they have to do and what we are up against when it comes to voter suppression. We just have to turn out in huge numbers in order to win. If you notice, in some departments, last election, they got in, right? How did that happen? The members showed up and voted. That's what has to happen. And it doesn't mean that our members didn't vote, but everybody has to be equally engaged, right? And that's why a part of our campaign is that our VPs are the front line and the faces of the department, and they have to inspire all of our members to participate. So we'll be out in full force. You will definitely see us everywhere. These were some really good questions. These were some really good questions. Does anyone else have any questions? Anything else they want to ask? Let me just go to see if I missed anything. This is a great comment. Members need to also remember that the responsibility of obtaining all of the things that we're discussing today, that we are asking for, relies greatly on how we support one another, because an injury to one is an injury to all. Also applies to our victories. We have to work together to protect our rights. How will you change COPE, and how will you deal with politicians? Well, right now, our politicians are just giving money. There's no accountability. So accountability and transparency is a part of what I'm running on, to be accountable and transparent. So we have to hold our elected officials accountable, one, because we vote for them, and also if we're going to be giving endorsements and supporting candidates, we have to make sure that our issues are front and center. That means strengthening the process in the political action department of the union. It has to be revamped. Our political action directors have to be given the ability to fight and lobby for us. Right now, these things don't happen. So again, remember, we're on a quest to go in and just put in, just let the process work. The infrastructure is already in place. All we have to do is come in and build out on it, right? The political action department is right there. So why is there no political action happening? Because the political action director is under the control of the president, and it's not in their interest to lobby our elected officials. Just think about the fact that we're not fighting for retiree medical. It is our union that gave back and privatized the retiree medical, which will affect us all because we will all one day be retirees. So that's very important. So someone just said, why nobody talks about the Me Too clause? Because the Me Too clause really has no power, right? It really doesn't have any power. They put it there as a way, they put Me Too in the contract, and then Me Too never occurs, right? It's the way to make you think that you're going to get something. So this is the political posturing and 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 the political posturing and the games that they play around making you think that something is happening in the contract, and then when you actually get the contract or you get the what they actually agreed upon, you see that everything that was told to you was basically a lie. Well, the consequences for someone put the union talks about availability. I told them if you enforce more safety regulations, members wouldn't have a problem coming to work after we've been assaulted. The perpetrators get right back out. Will you force the DA to charge them to the full extent of the law? And will we stand as one to make sure it doesn't happen again and make it public? Like contacting the news reporters and let the public know that this is unacceptable and will no longer be tolerated. You know, it's interesting you said that because I reached out to some reporters to talk about safety issues, assaults, and things that are happening in the subway system. And one of the things that they said to me was, "Oh, you know, we don't want to scare the public. This has to be done through. We would prefer, being that you're talking about union issues, that you do this, that we have to go to the union directly." However, I've often told people who were assaulted that, and also to mention when people are assaulted, a lot of times if they defend themselves, they are put up for dismissal, right? So not only did you get assaulted or attacked, but then management turns around and puts you up for termination. So all of these issues go hand in hand. And again, these are nothing that has been asked here is are things that are not doable. We just have to be in the position and we have to be there to be able to make this happen and to set up that if we need to do something, we have the ability to do it and have a response team to deal with injuries and all of these things that are current. So how I will build the morale of our membership to get them to participate is letting them know that they matter and that I care. People don't care about what you know or who you are until that you show them that you care about what their issues are. So they will be able to see that I care, that I'm available, that it's not just uh, for union reps, but that all of our members matter, right? And so that's what will boost morale. You have to begin to let them know that you care, and then you have to implement a system to where management has to respect our membership. The disrespect, the disregard for our members, and the way they treat us, that all has to be overhauled and changed. That will boost morale. Right. Also, as president, someone put Miss Evangeline Byers will have more coverage with the press and power as the president. Yes, we will have a lot of of press coverage. We'll be able to speak to our issues when we need to speak to them. That is the power of the president. That's why it is so sad, right? That right now we have a president in place who is in charge of the largest transport workers union in the United States with over 42 plus thousand members, and is silent. Is silent. Has nothing to say to the press. There is no pushback or fight back in any way to deal with the press. They're not using the power of the press, and they have all access to it. They can call whoever they want at any time and let them know what is going on. I also want to say this. Since I've decided to run for president, because we have some of our union sisters from other unions that are on and talking with us today and participating in this town hall. And it says a lot about my reach across unions already, that many of them, we talk together, we work together, we share information with one each other, we keep everybody in the loop. Unionism is about solidarity, right? There's not supposed to be a closed door policy to unions. Unions work together. There's this lie and that is being pushed that unions are supposed to stay in their own box, right? And that's not true. Unions, I've for years when I was young and coming up, you would go out, you would see Con Edison down by Union Square. They would be out there, and then you would see other unions standing and rallying with them, right? So this idea that everybody stays in their corner, there's no solidarity, that has to change. Our win in TWU Local 100 will not only affect us, it's going to affect the other unions as well. We're not the only ones being, our voices being suppressed or dealing with schemes to suppress dissent. It's happening throughout the city. In DC 37, look what that president is doing to their union. He's putting out statements and saying that his members are in favor of it when they're in court fighting against the very decisions that he has made, right? So what you will see when we make this change here at Local 100 is going to show other unions that it's time for the people who are most affected by these policies of union bosses who have been in power for so long, right? No one can get them back. They've set it up in such a way. And the author of all of this is Arthur Swartz, who is the general counsel at our union, right? He is the one that orchestrates all of the mechanism and tactics to keep union leaders in place. So it's almost impossible to get them out. But understand, the power of the people will always be greater than the people in power. And when we rise up and when we push back, we will win. But we are accountable for this election, right? Now, the union fighters, we all came together, right? We all came together. I don't have all the names in front of me. Let me see if I can pull up the names of all of the coalition groups that have come together. We have Progressive Change, TAMF STOA, United. We have Fight Back. Who else we have? Coalition for a Fair and Just Contract, Transport Workers group. There's a whole bunch of Stronger Together, which was my group. Everybody has come together to ensure that we get this win. And we still have the door open, and we still are hoping to bring in the rest of the people who are on the outside. I believe some people are just watching to see what we're going to do. Are we really going to do what we say we're going to do before they take the leap and come with us? Once we show our power and how organized we are, right, and what it is that we're putting in place, soon we're going to introduce to you who our different teams are. I don't want to reveal my whole hand and say what's going on, but you're going to begin to see what we're preparing for. This is not lip service. If anybody knows me, you know that I'm a doer, right? I don't just talk about it, I do something about it. So you will begin to see what it is that we're preparing for. And the members have to be committed to showing up and voting for us in order for us to get in. But we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. We're gonna do everything in our power to make sure that we get this win. Thank you, Heisman. So that's one of my classmates. He says, Eva, congrats on your decision to run for president. I'm a huge advocate for president for your candidacy. You have my vote in RTO, TWU Local 100. So I just want to say something because he said he congratulates me for my decision to run. But I want you all to understand, I read earlier on in the town hall our basis of unity. And one of that was that, yes, I did want to run for president. However, there was someone else that wanted to run for president as well. And therefore, there had to be a nomination process and there had to be a voting process. And I was elected by the AHOD, which is the Now Stronger Together Committee, to run for president of Local 100, not based off of, and now understand something else. We are a collective group of people who do not have relationships, many of us, outside of the fact that we decided to show up to this meeting and work together. We've seen each other around. We may have talked here and there. We were on opposite sides of the fence last election, but we all understood what it was, and they voted for me. I did not call around and tell people to vote for me. I did not try to manipulate the process. I fully submitted myself to the process of the electoral process and the agreement to be elected. And I was elected and to be the candidate for president to lead us forward. So I just want that to be emphasized. Okay, so we've been on here now for 1 hour and 32 minutes. I'll take 5 more minutes. I'll take questions for 5 more minutes. And then I think that this was a very good town hall. Thank you all who showed up and asked questions. I will upload this to YouTube so that you all can share it. And if you have any other questions about anything, please feel free to ask. Oh, somebody put here, I'm sorry, I missed some questions. Someone put, once again, what can we do about the guilty until proven innocent process? Guilty until proven innocent process. Are you talking about, Mr. Arez? Are you talking about at 2 Broadway? Once again, what are we to do about the guilty until proven innocent? So right now, what you can do about the guilty until proven innocent is that once they take you out of service, right, you write your G2, and then you have to, we have to go through the process of proving your innocence. However, there's not a great commitment to ensuring that. That's why I'm telling you that when I become president, that I'm going to overhaul the Office of Labor Relations, how grievance and discipline is meted out throughout the system. It's not, see, it's not an equitable system in the first place, meaning everybody is not dealt with the same way. MOW, disciplinary and grievance process is not the same as RTO, and it's not the same all across the board. Depending on what department you are in, you know, the union reps do things the way they've been told by their VPs that they do things, right? And so there is going to be a greater commitment to grievance and discipline across the board for everyone. So I'm going to make sure that that's a top priority. There's nothing that I can do right now except have a discussion with you about what it is that you're experiencing and us try to get ahead of it. Because a lot of this goes back to the fact that our union reps have not been empowered to be union reps. Because the first line of defense in the field when it comes to grievance and discipline is shop stewards. Our union is working on doing away with shop steward training and turning it into something else called union fighters. It was announced at the executive board meeting. And so or union soldiers or whatever it is. They have something going on with future leaders that they're trying to put in there, but it's not open to everybody. It's open to a selected few because they need to build up what they need to build up, they feel, to be able to combat and counter us, right? But how do we do that? There's more of us who are on the side of right than them who are trying to conspire to hold on to power. So there's a lot that we have to deal with that, Mr. Reyes. But that definitely is something that I can do once I'm in office. But there's also recourse that you can take now, um, with PERB and different things to deal with that. I just have to see whatever your situation is to better speak to it. Yes, we are one. I'm reading some of the comments now. We will lead the union membership. What's sad is we really are. Okay. Any more questions? Yes, Eric King is speaking to the issue of arbitrators. We definitely have to deal with the arbitrators. If they're bringing back decisions that are against us consistently, and we know and we can tell that the arbitrator is making a decision against us, even though the contractual language says one thing, they're doing another. We have to, we cannot keep paying those arbitrators. We just have to have a rotation of arbitrators that are coming in to deal with these issues because why are we continuing to pay arbitrators that bring back decisions against us consistent? Oh, someone put Kay Bailey put my three main concerns are tier six, better raises, and better dental benefits. Well, you're definitely on the same agenda that we're on. That's duly noted, Kay. My position when it comes to dealing with presidential endorsements is based on uh, our position as a union. So understand the president appoints who will be in the office of the NLRB, uh, the Secretary of Labor. All of these things come from who's the president. So I would have to see what the president's stance is, their commitment to labor, and then that's how we endorse candidates. We don't endorse people just to endorse them. We uh, endorse them based on or work with them based on our bottom line. What is in the best interest of our members? So that's how we make decisions on presidential candidates. And I just want to say something about that too. There was a time when unions were very, very effective in getting what they wanted to accomplish through the president of the United States. It's only now that we see this situation where people uh, are not challenging the president, that the unions are not showing out in full force, right? This summer they had the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. The March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom are how the poor and disenfranchised, primarily Black and Brown people, were given access to jobs in this country. But the way this happened was that labor came together with Martin Luther King and other entities, the clergy, and everyone came together and lobbied so that we had access to work in this country. And so we have to return to a time. We don't have to go back to exactly the way that was, but we need to be just as progressive. I always say to y'all, people say little smart comments like, oh, I'm not my ancestor. And I'm like, yeah, you're not your ancestor, because your ancestors fought. Your ancestors fought so that you had the right to vote. Your ancestors fought for your liberation and your freedom. And now you don't want to fight. You're comfortable, right? So sometimes, and that's where we are right now, the fire has been turned up under us. Now we're going to act, right? Now we're willing to come together because it has reached that pinnacle. Remember when Canilla assaulted Brother Thompson at Bedford Park, when that assault happened, it affected all of us. People who I thought never would speak to each other started speaking, right? We were able to talk and find a commonality, and that we all understood that what just transpired was criminal, and that that violated the code of unionism, right? We are a brotherhood and a sisterhood. Even if we don't agree with each other, we don't injure one another. We don't beat each other up. We don't put each other in the hospital. We don't break bones, right? Those are the days of old when those things happen. And to see that happen, and the president of our union back it up, that was egregious, right? That was egregious to back it up and to stand on it. And to date, there has been no repercussion to the vice president of RTO for his crime that he committed against a union member, right? The MTA even acquiesced on their own stance when it comes to dealing with workplace violence. So it's very important that we understand that this is about us all. If they could break up Brother Thompson, right? They could do that to any of us. You could be sitting in your crew room, you thinking you're getting ready to go out on your train, and somebody come in and close the door, and they do what they have to do and leave, and there's no repercussion. This is egregious. It's crazy. We cannot forget the things that we are suffering and have suffered under this administration. We cannot forget. Your memory cannot be short. It's often said that, oh, the members are not going to remember. They'll be on to the next thing or whatever. But you have to remember the things that have happened and transpired that really changed the dynamic. This is how we got to be all hands on deck. It was a response and a call to action based on all of these things that I'm mentioning, right? The privatization of our member services, Tier 6, the fact that we will be the first tier to retire in poverty, the fact that our benefits are now being diminished, right? For retiree medical, that service is put over safety consistently, that our members are dying in the performance of their job duties and losing their limbs, and nothing is being done about it, that we have access to the mayor and the governor to change these things and nothing is happening. We have the power to do it. If we don't move, this city doesn't move. So why are we giving our power away? We have the ability to make a difference, and we have ability to change it, okay? And even though with all of the schemes to suppress our dissent, to stop us from speaking up and fighting back and voting and participating in our own process, even running for office, right now, there are people who have put in exonerations. The union won't answer them. They're not answering people to give them exonerations when they were out on workers' compensation. It's all done on purpose because they know they have to go. John Chiarillo, the financial secretary treasurer of the union, head of the Farming Out Committee, sits with all of the other VPs, farming out the work in track, panel jobs being given away to contractors for the next 30 years. You know, the undoing of titles and positions. And listen, there's a whole, I could go on and on about the issues, but I'm concerned about us showing up. On February 24th, we should have a packed house. There should be no seats in Sugar Hill. This is our time. You have a presidential candidate that is fearless. that is not scared, that understands the issues, that is focused on the issues, to solve our issues, to make sure that our contract is protected, that we get adequate raises, that the money that is supposed to be given to our families in the child care fund, that it is restored, that the training and upgrade fund be upgraded to meet the challenges of what we're going to be dealing with technology. One of our brothers said, AI is here. What are we going to do about the technological advancements? Well, under my administration, and what it is that we're looking at now is how to better be prepared to deal with all of these issues and to do something about it. So I just want you all to just to understand and to know that we are ready. We are ready and we are prepared, but we need you all to get involved. We have the majority of the slate ready. We need you all to come out and get active. Run as a delegate. Run on the executive board. If you don't want to get too deeply involved yet, you want to, take your time and grow, become a delegate. Learn the position of a delegate and run to be union delegate. Run to be an executive board officer. Run to be VP of your department. Run to be a chair, the division chair. All of you that like to fight cases and to deal with management, step up into those roles. We got your back. There's training that's going to be taking place. Right now, we've been focusing on forming the team, getting through some of the kinks and making sure we had to get here. We had to go through a nomination process to nominate who would become the face of the organization and push us forward. Right now we have to finish the work of putting things together. But as we do that, we need you to come out, meet with us, make your union meetings, right? And begin to understand that this is your union. The union is not about the union reps. The union is about you, the member. I'm not running for president. We are running for president. My candidacy is your candidacy. My success is your success. So it's very important that everybody pulls together and come on out. It's our time. This is our time. We can do it. We can do it. And I want you all just be encouraged. Have no fear. Stop fearing. If you don't, fear comes from not being prepared, right? I always say I'm confident because I'm prepared. As long as you are prepared and understand, no, it doesn't feel good to be written up. I've been written up a litany of times, okay? I'm always dealing with something. I'm a union activist, right? If I even speak on the radio sometimes and call it in, a TSS is on my train right after, right? So trust me, I understand the heavy hand and what it feels like to be written up and dealing with union officers not representing you. I have grievances that are out right now that the union is trying to block. So I understand, and I've been touched in every way that you have. And if there's something that I haven't experienced and you let me know about it, I still will lend myself to helping to correct whatever it is. So we're way past time now. I think this was a great town hall. Thank you for all of the questions. You can inbox me, right, if you want to get in contact with me, or you can call 917-932-5482. If you have any questions or if you want to get involved, you can inbox me. Come to Sugar Hill on the 24th at 1 p.m. We'll be putting out the literature and everything. Come on, everybody, let's pull together and let's make this happen. Because when we fight, we win. Yes, please, everybody, make your division meetings. Let's do everything in our power to pull it together. Okay, it's going to take all of us. And understand something. I want to say one more thing before I go. I want you to understand that, this is a very heavy lift. When I tell you that this union has devised a scheme to suppress us, they have. But it's time for you to get your energy back and to understand that you pay dues. You are a dues paying member and you're supposed to be afforded services. You're supposed to have representation. You're not supposed to be suffering the way you are. You're supposed to have recourse. It's time for us to take our union back. Again, my name is Evangeline Byers. I'm the candidate for president of TWU Local 100. Again, this is not my presidency. I'm not just running for president. We're running for president. This presidency is our presidency, and it's yours for the taking. Again, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the field and on February 24th at 1 p.m. at Sugar Hill. We're calling all opposition candidates. Wherever you find yourself in the union, come out, get involved, and get active. Have a good day.